Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high. Cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold up, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up. Weekdays, catch us live. Somebody, let's go.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, good evening, everybody, and welcome. Good morning and good welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you guys all doing well out there. Hope this show finds you in good spirits, in great spirits, because another day above the dirt is always a blessing. Let's not forget that, guys. We have got something that's going on in California right now as we speak. We have got to get into this conversation. This is some serious stuff, and so this is what we're here for. So real quick, before we get into everything, because, you know, this is all breaking right now as we speak, and it could be something hugely catastrophic in the Garden Grove area. This is very serious. Thousands and thousands of people are about to or are in the middle of evacuating the area because there could very well be an explosion from a toxic tank. A chemical toxic tank could actually explode or leak or something of that sort, and there is a serious evacuation going on right now in the California area. So please do me a favor before we get into everything. Yes, it's serious, guys. 34,000 gallons of chemicals that could literally explode at any moment now. Not kidding. So please do me a favor. Hit that like button down below. Crush it, do it, do. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on these other platforms. I'm sorry. If you are watching on these other platforms, please make sure you hit that follow button. Follow. Subscribe right here to my YouTube channel, because we cover everything on this show, from true crime to pop culture to breaking news events, world news, and then some, and all the crazy stuff in between. So make sure you're subscribed, hit that notification bell, set it to all so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload. Please and thank you. Go hit that join button down below if you want to support the channel. That'd be greatly appreciated. Hit that join button down below, become a family member, or you could check out my Patreon. It's on the ticker down below right now as we speak. Go and support over there, or check out pascalmerch.com. Go check it out, pascalmerch.com. Got some really great stuff over there. Okay, guys, we got to get straight into it because we got a lot going on right here. As you guys already know, or just you guys are starting to file into this thing, this is breaking as we speak, or it has been breaking. Actually, it's been breaking since, I think, late last night, if I'm correct, which is absolutely crazy. But what we understand right now, let me just show this to you guys as I fix my microphone. They're saying this is not precautionary. This is not them just like being all funny and cutesy. You know, this is not just a situation where they're like, it may not, it's nothing to take it. You don't need to take it seriously. No, they're saying we need to take this very, very seriously, y'all. Everyone must evacuate as soon as possible. And they're saying upwards of like 40% of people in the area have not gotten the memo, which is not great. That's still thousands and thousands of people that have not gotten the memo about what's going on here in Garden Grove. Now, there's apparently a toxic tank that could explode. And if it does explode, or even like emanate some sort of gas of some sort, it could be bad. There's a potential of it being very, very bad. It could be nothing, but it could also be something as well. The fact that this tank, and the fact that actually, forget the fact that the tank is about to explode, the fact that you have officials saying, please evacuate now, is a very big deal. This is not a situation like, you know, everything might be okay, everything might not be okay. No, they're saying, hey, pack up your stuff and get the hell out of here as soon as possible. Let's take a look at this. All right, this is crazy. Thousands of Orange County residents remained under evacuation orders Friday. They're still under evacuation orders right now as we speak, after officials warned that a massive storage tank leaking hazardous chemicals at a Garden Grove aerospace facility could potentially rupture or explode. Fire officials said in a news conference today that in the situation, that the situation, I'm sorry, had escalated significantly overnight, and warned the crews that had been unable to fully stabilize the overheating 34,000 gallon tank containing methacrylate, okay, a volatile and highly flammable industrial chemical. So that's not good. That's not good. Okay. They say this is not precautionary. This thing is going to fail. So it is going to do something. It will erupt or it will rupture. Either way, this not good. This no good, cabrón. No good. Okay. So said Division Chief Craig Covey during a Friday afternoon press conference. We're doing our best to figure out when and how we can prevent it. But isn't that interesting? Because they just said this is not precautionary. This thing gonna fail. We just don't know when. So I don't know how they're gonna stop something that's inevitable, like Thanos. So I'm wondering what's going on with that. The Orange County Fire Authority said around 6:30 a.m. this morning that evacuations orders were being reissued due to changing conditions as hazmat crews continued mitigation efforts at the GKN Aerospace facility on Western Avenue in Garden Grove. The leak occurred around 3:30 p.m. Thursday when a 34,000 gallon storage tank containing methacrylate overheated and began venting vapors into the air at the facility located on that particular street. Okay, 12122 Western Ave. Out of an abundance of caution, authorities evacuated areas north of Garden Grove Boulevard, east of Monarch Street, and south of Orangewood Avenue, and west of Beach Boulevard. Later Friday morning, officials expanded the evacuation zone as crews continued monitoring the unstable tank. Officials initially lifted evacuation orders around 8:40 p.m. last night Thursday night, after crews spent hours cooling the tank and reducing vapor production. However, people in the area were told Friday morning that evacuations were being reinstated, as crews continued monitoring chemical readings near the site. So no matter what, it's no good. You gotta leave. This is inevitable. Something bad is about to go off. Something's going to pop off, and it's not going to be any bueno. It's no bueno. Due to changing conditions, evacuation orders are being reissued as a precautionary measure while mitigation operations continue. Updates will be provided as the situation develops. Thank you for your patience. Our community's safety remains our top priority. So they reported this news outlet reported Friday morning that Western Avenue remained closed between Garden Grove Boulevard and Chapman Avenue as police maintained a heavy presence around the industrial area. Okay, so again, guys, like this is really bad, and maybe this is the origin story to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You know what I mean? But in all seriousness, everyone should be packing up their stuff and kicking rocks as soon as freaking bloody possible. Let's take a look at this. This is just from a few hours ago, a live feed from a few hours ago, but let's take a look at this real quick. What? Where? There's no sound. Uh-oh. There's no sound. Hold on. Come on. Is it all just silent? What the hell? check this out.
Continues right now at 3. We are tracking a toxic emergency in Garden Grove. Good afternoon,
we'll look at that
everyone.
in a little bit. Let's look at what they're doing live right now.
And I'm Michael Brownlee. We started our 3 p.m. newscast early to bring you a live update from emergency officials there in Garden Grove. All right, folks, it's been more than 24 hours since a chemical leak forced people out of their homes. They were allowed to return briefly, as we heard, but evacuation orders were reissued and expanded here today as teams work to contain that threat.
Yeah, we have live team coverage on the Garden Grove leak. We have NBC4's Amber Frias. She's talking to evacuees out there.
But first, Hetty Chang is live with breaking new details from first responders. Hetty.
Yeah, Michael and Annabelle, we've been listening to this press conference that just wrapped up a short time ago with all kinds of officials, with the Garden Grove Police Department, the Garden Grove Mayor, OCFA. This is a unified command. And we're talking about just the sense of urgency that we're hearing with each and every one of these officials, with these agencies. It is a unified command. They are urging the 15% of the 40,000 people impacted by these evacuation orders to please take these orders seriously. We've been talking about the sense of urgency with the situation. They are calling this a very serious situation, and that this chemical, the chemical called methacrylate, is highly volatile, and it's a highly unpredictable situation. Now, the officials certainly don't want to cause any sort of hysteria or chaos, but they do want people to take these mandatory evacuation orders very seriously, and we saw them throughout the past 24 hours expand, and then they went away, and then people were able to go back home. And then this morning at 6:45, we saw that those evacuation orders were going to be reissued again, and then we saw that evacuation zone and perimeter expand, not just to Garden Grove, but to neighboring cities, right, of Stanton, of Cypress. I heard from a contact in Anaheim. They said that they had opened an evacuation center there in Anaheim as well. But we're talking about a chemical called methacrylate. We do know that there are 3 tanks within that manufacturing plant on Western Avenue. It's called GKN Aerospace. One of those tanks is compromised. The most compromised has about 7,000 gallons of this chemical, which the health officer referred to as MMA, methacrylate. It is used in the manufacturing of plastics. That tank bulged, and it caused boiling liquid to expand and excrete this vapor. So what they say is they don't want this catastrophic event to happen, but really the only 2 options are not good ones, right? One option is that it's going to explode, and that could be potentially a very dangerous and catastrophic situation. The other option is not so good either. They would like this tank to crack so that the 7,000 gallons of this chemical can then pour into a parking lot. At least that way there's barriers there, right? At least that way it is somewhat contained. What we do want to stress is that the officials say that there is no active leak right now, and that the air around the area is safe, right? AQMD is monitoring the levels very closely, and they say that it is monitoring at a normal level.
Well, it's interesting because they're like, hey, nothing to worry about here, but evacuate. So I'm wondering what the hell's going on here, right? Star Fury, thank you so much for the $20 super chat. I really do appreciate it. I used to live in Garden Grove from 2008 to 2014, and Chapman Avenue is where my Chapman University alma mater is located. Interesting. I know exactly where that base is. Happy Memorial Day weekend, everybody. Yes, happy Memorial Day weekend to you too. Okay. This is pretty crazy. What could actually happen, but they're like, everybody run, but maybe nothing will happen. You see what I'm saying? They're like, it's inevitable. But it may not be inevitable, but still run. So again, Infinite Content said, Pascal, I know chemistry, evacuate now. Yeah. I mean, that's what I think. I'd rather be safe and wrong than right and gone. You see what I'm saying? I'd rather be alive and wrong than dead and right. You see what I'm saying? So, just saying. So you might as well, if you are in the area, pack up your ish and kick mother-loving rocks.
Here at this manufacturing plant.
So the information that I've been provided to this point, the call came in around 3:30 yesterday afternoon. It came in as a chemical out spill. That's how it was designated on our end, which means that there's some sort of chemical leaking into the environment. So crews in the area arrived on scene. They initiated a hazmat response, and our hazmat team that specializes in these types of calls went to work. They did some air monitoring. They took into consideration all the variables and what kind of product they were dealing with, and from there they determined what chemical they were dealing with and what the situation was, and that some evacuations were going to be needed at that time.
And we saw really all throughout the afternoon and into the evening, really, OCFA, fire engines using the water hoses to try to cool down that tank. Did that happen? And then we heard that the evacuation orders were lifted right around 9 o'clock yesterday. So let's talk about that process. Did that happen, and did it help mitigate things? And then what led us to this morning's re-evacuation order?
So I don't have all of the details that caused the change of events in the middle of the night. However, I do know that that facility has employees that are pre-designated for this type of situation, alongside our partners with Garden Grove Police and obviously OCFA hazmat teams. They went in, they tried to mitigate the issue. Initially, they had success. I don't have the details as to why things changed overnight, but again, the valves, to my knowledge, were having issues. They were either inoperable or they were gumming up due to the product itself, which created that issue with this product either leaking out, as we've all been informed, or the potential for the BLEVE. So again, the abundance of caution is the phrase we've been using, but with these two being the most likely outcomes, we just had to make sure people, again, removed from the area and got to a safe space.
And Captain, tell us what's happening right now, because we're in the parking lot of the Los Alamitos racecourse. It is a very large parking lot with many what looks to be mobile command units here. What are authorities doing right now? We heard kind of a call, right, to other experts. Like, there's brilliant people here, there's wonderful people, experts here, but being that these are the only two options on the table right now, is there a call to state officials or other experts around the state to say, look, I've dealt with this before, this is what we did?
Yeah, I believe it's such a unique situation. As you heard the doctor with the OC Health discussed, exposures to this particular chemical are very rare, and so we're leaning on every resource, exhausting every resource in the area to try to find and come up with an extra plan to mitigate this situation. But at the current time, we have those two options really being the only ones, but we're not going to stop until we've exhausted every resource.
I'll circle back to that, Nicole, in just a little bit.
What is the tank doing right now?
Thanks for the super chat.
So it's not leaking anything to my knowledge. Again, we have unmanned water streams there to cool the tank. Since those valves are not working, we're attempting to use that water to cool the product and prevent it from reaching temperatures where thermal runaway will take place. But again, for safety of first responders and all the personnel in that area, all personnel are out of the area, and we just have that unmanned master stream flowing on the product with a ton of water trying to keep it cool.
When you say ton of water, there's no danger of it ever running out? I mean, how
That's a good
how
question.
long is this going to go for?
Again, the time frame is unclear, as you heard Chief mention earlier, but we do have that master stream attached to a hydrant, which should supply an unlimited amount of water until we get further notice on time frame or further measures that are going to be taken.
Captain, I want to go back to those two options, neither of which are ideal situations. What would cause the tank to crack, which is the better option, right? And what would cause the tank to explode?
So because those valves are pressure relief valves, again, to my knowledge and what I've been told, since they're not operating correctly, this product, it heats itself. And so as it's heating, it's going to expand, and it's going to cause that tank to expand since it has nowhere to go. And so it's either that tank is going to fail if it continues to bulge and expand, or else that the product itself, the methyl
we'll call it MMA.
Yeah, the MMA is easier to say, but it's eventually going to the tank's going to crack because it's expanding, or it's going to reach temperatures
MMA.
where the thermal runway is going to take place, and there's potential for an explosion.
You've been doing this a long time. I mean, have you ever dealt with something like this, experienced anything like this?
Nothing to this magnitude with a hazmat spill outside. That's why I think you see so many agencies coming together, putting our heads together and trying to make sure that we keep the public safe. But we respond to so many different emergencies, and they're all different from the other. So we're going to continue doing everything we can.
Thanks, Captain, for your time. Captain Garden with the OCFA. Michael and Annabelle, is there anything you would like to ask him before I let him go?
Yes, Hetty, if there is an explosion, what does that look like for the community? How big could this be?
So, Annabelle, with the good question of if there is an explosion, of course, that's not something anyone wants. How big of an impact could this have? And we're talking like, let's talk distance, let's talk people impacted.
Yeah, so you heard our hazmat specialist, Chief Freeman, talk about the weight of the product, and we've have the evacuation zones in place based on models from our hazmat team on how large of an area this can impact. That those evacuation zones also have safety factors built in, so we're not just evacuating people right up to the edge. We want to make sure we have extra space, but there's so many variables to consider as far as where the wind's blowing, how much of the product is actually involved. So there's a lot of variables to include, but those evacuation areas, it's saying about 1 mile radius, so 2 mile circumference more or less, which are all the reports that we're getting at this time.
Okay, so that answers our previous question, because we knew of where the evacuation zone was, but we weren't really too sure how large it was. So accurate to say, tell us again not the square footage, but the mileage.
So it's what we're being told is 1 mile from the radius. So.
And again, going back to Annabelle's question, though, I mean, what could, and again, we don't want to cause hysteria or chaos, but potentially if this does explode, what could it look like? Are we talking about, buildings and neighborhood blocks?
Not to that extreme level. Again, we don't have every single detail on how that will look. The product may ignite. I'm not sure if it's going to blow up any houses in the area or anything like that. We don't want to cause any mass hysteria by any means, but we do have teams that are trained in that area looking further into it, so I don't want to give any false information at this point.
Captain, thank you so much with the OCFA. So you heard it from the captain. They are monitoring closely. They are working with everybody across the state to try to figure out if there's better options on the table, because those two options right now is for that tank to crack, that 7,000 gallons of liquid to go into a parking lot. The other option, of course, no one wants, is that for that tank to explode. And, you heard from the captain potentially what that could look like, and that is why they're really taking all precautions and evacuating a fairly large area, right, of 40,000 people who live in and around the area, not just in Garden Grove, but again, neighboring communities of Stanton, of Cypress. I believe we heard Buena Park as well. Michael and Annabelle, back to you.
All right.
Yeah, thank you, BB Lee, for the love. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Hi. Hello, baby Lee. Thank you so much, BB Lee. I appreciate it. So I mean, they're trying to evacuate as many injured. Call 1-800-900-0000. Call Sweet James. Why is it Sweet James? That's very strange. Sweet James injury. That's weird. Okay, well, they went into a commercial break. Gotta love when that crap happens. But this is oh my gosh, let me take that down. This is a very interesting situation, because it's kind of like they're damned if they do, they're damned if they don't. So if they are to sit there and tell everybody, yo, kick rocks, y'all need to leave right now. No joke. You need to kick freaking rocks right now. Don't waste any more time. Pack up your stuff and leave. But by the way, it may go off. It may not go off. We don't entirely know. Anything's possible here. So just out of precaution, just out of caution, we're just going to have you guys kick rocks. Sound good? It's very interesting. But let's take a look at this press conference here that they gave.
Listing agencies, we appreciate you all being here today. For updated information, please continue to follow OC Fire Authority on X. Additionally, a public information hotline has been established, and the number is 714-628-7085. This afternoon, there will be 5 speakers with a brief time for questions at the end. Today's speakers are Orange County Fire Authority Interim Fire Chief TJ McGovern, Orange County Fire Authority Division Chief and Unified Incident Commander Craig Covey, Garden Grove Police Department Chief and Unified Incident Commander Amir El Farah, City of Garden Grove Mayor Stephanie Kloffenstein, and Orange County Supervisor Janet Nguyen. Chief McGovern.
Thank you, Captain Bartlett. Good afternoon. TJ McGovern, Interim Fire Chief for Orange County Fire Authority. Thank you all for being here as we work in unified command with our partners for keeping our community safe. Yesterday afternoon, the Orange County Fire Authority responded to a chemical incident in Garden Grove on Western Avenue. It was involving a vapor release from a tank containing an industrial chemical used in plastic and manufacturing. One of the 3 tanks affected experienced an increase in temperature, activating a relief valve and overhead sprinkler system to cool the product. OCFA resources were on scene in less than 6 minutes with a robust hazardous material response. Initial actions were the safety of our people, of the life of our communities, supporting the systems that the building already had in play with unstaffed ground monitors, and that was due to the safety risk of our first responders and the people in the vicinity. As precautions, nearby neighborhoods in Garden Grove and Stanton were evacuated. Throughout the day, vapor conditions improved and evacuation orders were lifted. After the evacuation orders were lifted, the facility and industrial crews continued to make progress towards the removal and the containment of the product. However, due to a damaged valve on the tank, it created additional operational challenges, preventing complete mitigation efforts. With these new circumstances, we modified our operational plan and response plan, and OCFA Incident Commander Chief Craig Covey will share additional details on what that additional operational plan was. We understand how disruptive and frightening this is to the public and our communities, particularly for the residents who have been asked to leave their homes for their own safety. Hazardous material incidents can evolve quickly and unpredictably, and so did our response. When our initial crews recognized what was going on, the citizens and the communities, that was their priority, make sure they were protected.
Okay, hold on. I don't mean to interrupt this, and don't worry, I'm not going to interrupt a lot or at all after this, really, unless he says something huge. But take a look at the safety precautions that they have. Like, this is apparently very toxic. This is very toxic chemicals that are in those tanks right there. Now they got a sprinkler system to basically cool the tanks if there's ever a problem, if things get too hot or something of that sort, right? But that's all they got. Sure, they got a fence around it, that kind of thing, so people can't, hop over it and, try to do something stupid. But that's all you have? So think about this. The safety precautions to stop this from coming out, from affecting other people, the community that, the residents that are literally around this facility, you'd think that safety precautions would be more than just having a sprinkler system, right? You think that would be a little bit better, right? I just find that very interesting. You got a very, very toxic chemical that's in a tank. And instead of them going, hey, just in case ish hits the fan, we got these other safety precautions. So the chemicals don't go out into the world, into the community. So our kids don't inhale this stuff and suddenly get some crazy cancer, or get some crazy disease that no one's ever heard of before. You see what I'm saying? So sprinklers is the only, and a fence, a chain link fence is all they have as far as safety precaution before 5.0 and officials and a fire department come and hose this mother lover down. They don't have anything else. You see what I'm saying? Not for me, dog. Not for me, dog. Not for me. But interesting. Let's continue.
Together, we will all get through this to keep our community safe, and we will do our best to get those residents that were evacuated back in their homes when the incident is mitigated and it's safe to do that.
Hold on. I don't mean to interrupt again. I lied. I'm sorry. I said I wasn't going to say anything more, and I was just going to let him cook. But I need to say this. You really mean to tell me that it's like, oh, guys, sorry, kids, sorry, families, sorry, hardworking people. You got to stop everything for your whole entire weekend. By the way, Memorial Day weekend, to add to that, we're going to have you evacuate your homes. Sure, some of y'all about to go vacay for the weekend. No big deal. Okay, enjoy yourself. But what about those families that are staying home? Doing their own cookouts in the backyard. Going to the neighborhood pool later on this weekend. Enjoying overly cooked grills that daddy made on his very old, rusty grill in the backyard. What about all them? Where are they going to go? Where are they going to go and evacuate to? And what about those who can't move? What about those who can't go? What about those who don't have any other option? And it's all because there's no other safety precautions that that are implemented for this particular chemical plant. And they smart because it's an aerospace facility. Sorry, guys, I'm just breaking it all the way down. Because that's inconveniencing thousands and thousands and thousands of people in the area. And if everything goes completely haywire, there's going to be some sick people out here if it is as toxic and as bad as they say it is. And that's if the stuff explodes. This problem would have been not as big of a problem if they had other safety precautions existing for those tanks that are sitting out in the outside. They're sitting outside. Kids are riding bikes by that mug. You see what I'm saying? All right, I'm gonna let him cook, but let me speed this up. You know what I mean? It's not his fault. He's doing whatever he can to stop this ish from happening. But what about the facility itself? Shouldn't they know better? Shouldn't they know better? They got to evacuate tens of thousands of people out of this area as soon as possible, as quickly as possible. Snap. Okay. Yeah, where's Erin Brockovich when you need her? You know what I'm saying? Where's our Julia Roberts when we need them? Our pretty woman. Where's she at? With a law degree. Where's she at? Because for a fact there's going to be a whole lot of lawsuits coming if this thing does explode. Get ready for it. It's going to be crazy. I sped it up a little bit so we can get to the stuff. Okay? Just so you know. You've been forewarned. Let's continue. Oh, also, there is someone that actually pew-pewed two lawyers outside of a courthouse just right before, just a little before I went live today. So we are going to take a look at that here in just a minute, okay? But we got to take a look at this. Let's keep on cooking, y'all.
It is our community's interest to keep them safe and out of harm's way. Thank you for all being here. Thank you for your support. And with that, I'm going to give it to our incident commander, Chief Craig Covey.
Unbelievable.
Thank you, Chief McGovern. As you said, my name is Craig Covey. I'm the incident commander and a division chief with Orange County Fire. I'm also the incident commander of Orange County Fire's Incident Management Team 1. On behalf of the Unified Incident Command Team, which includes members from Anaheim Fire Department, Garden Grove Police Department, Cypress Police Department, Anaheim Police Department, Orange County Sheriff's Department, and Orange County Healthcare Agency. Each of those agencies has one member as part of the unified command so that we can all work in collaboration to mitigate this incident as quickly as possible. So to go a little bit beyond what Chief McGovern expressed. So these tanks, there's 3 of them there. The tank that is the most compromised and in crisis currently has, we estimate, somewhere around 7,000 gallons of this chemical left in it. The other 2 tanks, one of them, we were able to induce a agent to neutralize it, and we've secured its volatility. The other tank, we have not been able to do that as well, but it is not in crisis like the primary tank. That tank, when it heated up on the first day, actually bulged. It got to a point where it does what we call a BLEVE, which is a boiling liquid expanding vapor explosion. If you've ever seen videos of tank cars on a railroad track blowing up and that fireball it puts out and it blows half the tank car half a mile down the train track, that's the incident potential we are dealing with if this suffers a catastrophic failure.
Brought my Chevy to the BLEVE, but okay. I tried. We're gonna continue on though. So the thing expanded. Yeah, holy crap indeed. Okay. But they were able to calm it down, but they're still saying everybody leave. And look at these houses. These are nice ass houses, y'all, in the area. Look at these houses. These are nice houses. Man.
That's why, in an abundance of caution, we have reissued the evacuation, and after continued information getting in from our hazmat team on scene, we increased the safety zone. And this is why. The manufacturer has a response team. They work together with us to go in and mitigate that. We had initial really good success after we cooled those tanks down with the sprinkler system and our hose streams. But while they were trying to unload all those things and neutralize them, put the chemicals in to neutralize them, they discovered the primary tank that's in crisis. We were unable to access the valves. The valves are broken, they're gummed up with the agent, and we were unable to offload the material through the systems that it has. So that's the point we're at. They advised us, they have tried everything that they can, and there's nothing else they are capable of doing to mitigate that tank that's in crisis. So we have assembled a team to think outside the box. Our hazmat teams from in-county and with the healthcare agency are calling people all over the state and the country to get together with ideas how we can safely go in there and depressurize a pressurized tank and mitigate the exposure that it has. What we were told by the manufacturer's tech rep is that essentially we're at 2 current options and outcomes of this tank. One, it fails and cracks and all the product leaks out onto the ground. Now, we've created containment barriers in anticipation of that. That's roughly 7,000 gallons of liquid going out on the ground. We've made sand barriers. We've done our efforts to mitigate it from getting into the storm drains and the river channels and into our oceans that we know are close. So in a weird world, that's the best case scenario, believe it or not, because once it comes out, it is no longer an explosive hazard. And our hazmat teams in their chemical protective suits can go in, neutralize, and mitigate the vapors that will be coming off of that. The plume that will come off of that leak. We'll be able to get in there and secure it, mitigate it, and return to this community. The other option that was told to us is that it blows up. That was what we were handed. A leaking tank or a tank that blows up. That's why we extended the evacuation today in an overabundance of caution. This is highly volatile, it's highly toxic, and it's highly flammable. So we put out the message earlier. I cannot emphasize this is not precautionary. This is going to happen unless some brilliant guy behind me here figures out how we can mitigate this incident. This thing is going to fail. We don't know when. I know everybody wants to know how long we're going to have them out of the house.
Like, ain't that crazy? Like, it's sped up, by the way. I'm sorry, guys, just so you know. The reason why he sounds panicked, he chill. Hold on. Let me show you exactly what I mean. I sped it up. I even said it to y'all. Damn. Okay, heads up. I sped it up. This is normal speed right here.
I don't have an answer to you on that. At some point, this is going to fail, and we're doing our best to figure out the when or how we can prevent it. But
now I'm gonna go put it back to where it was. Okay, I'm gonna put it back to the speed that we had because there's a lot to cover, and I'm trying to cover it all as quickly as we can because this press conference happened a little bit ago. Just so you know. Yeah, he still sounds kind of panicked, even at normal speed. So he is a little worried, and rightfully so. Every person that is in the area should be worried. He says it gonna go down, okay? He says it's gonna go down. He just doesn't know when. That's the problem. He says it's inevitable unless some genius behind him says, well, if we use some tongue suppressors and some super glue, then we can solve it all. We'll have a jolly Christmas. But that's not what's going to happen. It sounds like this thing's going to blow. It's just a matter of when.
At this point, the only two options that are facing us, the only plan is out there is this thing failing. And we react and mitigate what kind of failure occurs. Again, right now, there is no active gas leak coming off that thing. We have cooled it down enough that the purge valve that is on top of it is no longer purging any kind of product from the liquids there. So the community is safe. There's nothing in the air right now. But to ensure that, we have active monitoring around the area to ensure we're not something is going out there that we're not aware of. We're monitoring the temperature of the tank with drones constantly, trying to validate what the exterior temperature is. And then we also have a set temperature where when it reaches that point, we know the tank is going into thermal runaway, and we're going to pull everybody out of the area, make sure it's safe, and let the tank do what it's going to do. I appreciate you all being out here. It's really important for us to communicate out to our communities. This has been an incredibly evolving, dynamic incident all night. Last night, I actually went home for a little bit thinking we got this thing going in the right direction. Got woken up at 4 a.m. going, nope, it's gone the wrong direction now. So this is very serious. This evacuation needs to be paid attention to. People need to get out of their houses and get into a safe space. Because when this thing goes, depending on what direction it's going, we cannot control the weather.
Damn right.
We cannot control it. So that's why we put a evacuation circle that's going to take an effect no matter which way the wind is blowing at that time. Okay? So thank you for your support and getting this.
Damn right. KWNY, KWNY Upstate. Thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it, K-Dubs. Yeah. So the community is not safe. If you're saying it will explode, yeah, it's not. That's why he's saying exactly what he's saying. He's saying everyone needs to kick rocks. This was a press conference that they just had a little bit ago. So he's like, everyone must leave right now from this area. We ain't got time for niceties. We got to keep it real. This thing, he's saying this thing is going to blow. It's only a matter of time. Everyone needs to pack up and leave. So if you are watching this show right now and you are in the Garden Grove area, please pack up your stuff and kick rocks. Get out. Leave as quickly as you bloody can. Get some clothes together, put it in a quick book bag or a bag of some sort, and kick freaking rocks. Get as far away as you can from this area as you can, because they say it's about to go off. It is only a matter of time when. They just don't know when.
Message out to our communities.
Good afternoon. Thank you for being here. I'm Police Chief Amir Alfaro with the Garden Grove Police Department. I will tell you this is a large-scale event, and our evacuation zone is quite large.
Crazy.
Cities that have been impacted is Garden Grove, Cypress, Stanton, Anaheim, Buena Park, Westminster. We have worked closely with our partners at OC Sheriff's Office and their mobile field force configuration to assist in those evacuations, as well as our allied partners in adjoining cities nearby. The evacuation area consists of Ball Street to the north, Trask Avenue to the south, Dale to the east, and Valley View Boulevard to the west. This is a large-scale operation that is drawing a lot of resources so we can continue to make sure our community is being safe at this time. Those who have been impacted in our community by this evacuation zone, we have several evacuation centers set up for you. The first being at Garden Grove Sports and Recreation Center, located at 13641 Deodara Drive. That's in Garden Grove, California, 92844. The second one is in the city of Cypress at 5700 Orange Avenue, Cypress, California, 90630. I would just like to tell our community this is a significant event for us, somewhat unprecedented. Please adhere to the evacuation orders. From a law enforcement and fire perspective, our highest priority is your safety and security. So please listen to what we're telling you. We have multiple outlets posting updated information on social media platforms, as well as through our partners in the media. So we appreciate you and thank you for being here to get that message out. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mayor of Garden Grove, Stephanie Klopfenstein. You've just heard from OCFA and the Garden Grove Police Department about the seriousness of this incident and the steps being taken to protect the community. My message to our residents, businesses, and employees in the affected area is direct. Please follow all evacuation orders, road closures, and instructions from emergency personnel. We understand that this is frightening. We understand that people are worried about their homes, their businesses, their pets, and their loved ones, but the evacuation orders are in place for your safety. The city's priority is to protect life and keep people out of harm's way. We want to get everyone's home reopened in the area as soon as possible, but we also have a due diligence to make sure that we determine if it is safe first. To those who have evacuated and cooperated with public safety instructions, thank you. Your cooperation is helping first responders focus on the incident and the work that they do to keep us safe. To everyone still in evacuation areas, please leave immediately. This is a serious situation, and now it is not the time to wait. Please leave now. The City of Garden Grove has also opened a 24-hour call center for community members who need information and assistance. The number is 714-741-5444. That's 714-741-5444. The latest updates are also available at ggcity.org/emergency. I want to thank OCFA, the Garden Grove Police Department, city staff, and all mutual aid agencies for working under difficult and dangerous conditions to protect our community. And I want to thank you for your patience, cooperation, and care for one another as this response continues. At this time, you'll now hear from Supervisor Janet Nguyen.
Thank you, Mayor. First and foremost, my thoughts are with every resident's, family, and students impacted.
I'm going to stop right there real quick. K-Dubs, thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it. Why not put the company on TV and have them explain why they put a huge tank of this right next to residential places and shut down the company or shut the company down? Yeah, I you know what? Yeah. KW from downtown, all the way from mother loving downtown. I couldn't agree more. You're going to tell me that you're just going to, oh yeah, this thing is going to explode. It's all good though. No, your whole vacation ruined though, but it's gonna be all right, you know, because eventually we'll explode, and then you're gonna have to worry about these toxic fumes hurting you and your loved ones. But hey, it's gonna be all right. When you come back, it should be gone. We think, kind of, maybe. We're gonna stop it from rolling into our water and everything, and maybe, you know, God forbid, we destroy ocean life in the area too, so we ain't gonna try to let it, you know, just leak into the ocean. How considerate of us now, isn't it? Oh yeah, we could have done some precautionary measures to stop this from ever happening in the past, because we've been around here for God knows how long. But yeah, you ain't right. You ain't wrong. We could have done things, but we didn't do a damn thing. Yeah. Dumb. We should be looking at all these plants, right? All of them that are all around us. We should all be looking at it. No, I'm not trying to be funny. I'm saying this is not a laughing matter, what I'm talking about. What they did is I'm making them sound dumb, because what they're doing here is dumb, okay? It's dumb. And now we're dealing with this. Now we're here. Now we're here, guys. These are things that could have been prevented, I truly believe. But again, like I said, I'm not a scientist. I'm not someone who runs a lab or, you know, runs a chemical plant or anything of that sort. But I will tell you this. This is a level of dumb like I've never seen before in my whole entire life. Messy, thank you so much for the love. Did they put the company in the tank? Did they put the company in the tank in a residential area, or did the residential area build around the tank and company? You know, that's a good question. I don't know. But at the same time, though, they've had plenty of time. If you look around, right? Let's just say that the tank, the company was always there. They were building, and then these houses are around these started building around the company. You don't think that they would take even just a second to go, oh, wow, there are kids running around and riding on bicycles, and schools are coming up, and churches are starting to sprout up. And then, oh, that lovely coffee shop I love going to every day, you know, that's across the street. You know what I'm saying? Those things would automatically make you think in your head, we might need to have some other precautions to keep these people safe so ish doesn't hit the fan, right? I mean, just saying, you know, whether it was the chicken or the egg that came first, doesn't matter. There should be precautions made, right? At least that's how I see it, right? But, you know, like I said, I'm just me, you know what I mean? But we'll see. The real Samantha, thank you so much for the love. Hi, Pascal. Hi. We live in the area in Huntington Beach, in 15 minutes from the epicenter. Pray for us. Yes, praying for you big time. And everybody in the surrounding areas that are sitting right next to this freaking facility and outside of the facility for sure. Okay, I'm hoping you guys are getting out as quickly as possible. Moving on to all those in the area, please evacuate. If told to do so, don't wait. Stay safe. Yes, I second that comment. Thank you so much for the super chat. Yes, 110%. Get the F out. Don't sit there and go, oh, it ain't gonna be that bad. No, pack up your stuff and go. Okay, to KW, thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it. Once he went to prison, they should have safely deposed of P. Diddy's baby oil and not leave it in the tank near people's homes, near people's families. I'm done. See, some people are throwing jokes. Okay, let's be real. David says he doesn't agree with me. He says, Pascal, I disagree. It's most likely a safe operation, but without proper maintenance, everything can become dangerous. But then wait, now, David, I appreciate the comment, and we all are allowed and welcome to disagreeing, opposing thoughts here. But here, you noticed in your sentence, that's where they messed up. Then let's just say that there are safety precautions and operations to keep that facility or those tanks safe. But you just said the last part, which could also be a problem as well, because that's complacency. That is laziness. When you say without proper maintenance, everything can become dangerous, why not the proper maintenance then? You see what I'm saying? You feels me. I mean, we could, like I said, not everybody has to agree with me. Okay? I am just one person. I'm not an expert. I'm just a very smart, witty man. I'm kidding. I'm just me. And in my mind, I'm like, wait a second. Precautions and proper maintenance, that could be the start of the whole problem? That just goes back to what I'm saying. Because if they were complacent, lazy, not doing their damn job, if they were doing it, right? If they were doing it, their precautions and maintenance and doing everything that they needed to do, we wouldn't be, or this neighborhood, this town wouldn't be in this situation in the first doggone place, right? Bellin, thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for the love. Seriously, thank you. Thank you so much. Pascal, don't forget, there has recently been major rollbacks on environmental regulations and safety requirements for corporations. Who knows if this contributed? That might be it too. That could be it. Bellin, that's a good call. That's a very good point, right? We are dealing with a specific administration that's doing very specific things and taking certain funds and funding out of certain things and putting it towards other things and so on and so forth. A lot of people are screwed on many levels. Maybe that's part of that too. Maybe. But I also say, if there was proper maintenance, if there was proper protocols, if they were really keeping an eye on that, right? Yeah, Jesse. Yearly inspections, etc. Maybe we wouldn't be here. You see what I'm saying? It's kind of like the same thing when we look at planes, when they just fall from the sky, or as they're taking off, an engine just flies off of the engine, off the plane, and the thing just bursts into flames, right? And then we find out, the last time it had some sort of maintenance checkup was a year ago or 2 years ago or something of that sort. Yeah, those kind of things. You see what I'm saying? Those kind of things are very, very important to make sure all the screws are screwed in tightly, or if there needs to be a new screw put in, because that one screw could be that catastrophic thing that causes that domino effect, right? One thing after another, everything starts falling down, and next thing you know, you got an entire town evacuating because of toxic fumes possibly exploding. All because of a mother-loving rusty screw that should have been replaced a year ago. Hell, a month ago. You see what I'm saying? So we'll see. But let's hear the rest of this here really quick. All right. Thank you so much for the super chats. I do appreciate it. But everybody in that area, please, okay, please pack up your stuff and bounce. Kick freaking rocks now. Call your mama and say, hey, mama, you getting a gift this weekend. We coming to you. No. We coming to you now. We coming to you now. And get there. As long as you're not anywhere near this area, please go.
By this incident. I grew up in this community, so this is personal to me. I want you to know that I, the county, and AQMD are committed to making sure you are safe, informed, and supported through every step of this situation. As your county supervisor and as a governing board member of the South Coast Air Quality Management District, I want residents to know that agencies at every level are actively coordinating to protect your safety and health. Emergency responders remain on scene, working to safely contain the incident, and evacuation orders remain in place. We urge all residents to continue following all instruction and emergency personnel. Dr. CK, our county health officer, county hazmat team from HCA, the county healthcare agency, have been working alongside South Coast Air Quality Management on site to support the first responders. AQMD has deployed equipment to measure air quality and wind in real time. This will help emergency responders assess conditions and make informed decisions. Right now, the current monitoring shows that the air quality is within typical levels. We will continue monitoring for any changes. We are grateful to the agency and organization working hard to keep residents informed as the situation develops. Clear, timely, and accurate information is critical during emergency, and we appreciate the continued efforts to provide updates to the community. I want to thank the Orange County Fire Authority, City of Garden Grove, the Garden Grove Police Department, County Healthcare Agency, the Sheriff Department, AQMD, the U.S. EPA, the Governor, Cal EOS, and all the responding agencies for their prompt response and coordinating efforts during this incident. We will continue doing everything we can to support and take care of our residents. Updates will continue to be shared as information becomes available. Thank you.
Okay, thank you to all of our speakers. We're now going to open it up for questions. Michelle?
Can I ask you please to explain to the public, what is this chemical? How toxic is it? What happens if there are fumes in the air? What if there's an explosion? I mean, could people die if they breathe these fumes in?
Okay, the question was regarding what the chemical is and what the potential impacts are.
Thank you, Michelle. I figured that question would come up. And remember what I said, I have a whole bunch of really smart people behind me. I'm going to introduce Division Chief Nick Freeman here. He's our hazmat program manager, and has got multiple years in hazmat emergency response, and he's got a lot of that information for you.
Good afternoon, I my name is Nick Freeman. I'm Division Chief of the Orange County Fire Authority. To the question, the product involved, thank you, is methyl methacrylate. It is a highly toxic, as previously stated, substance, so it can impact respiratory system, cause skin irritation, eye irritation. The other concern we have is it's extremely flammable, and in its current state, very reactive and can cause that explosion, which is why we have that hard perimeter in place.
All right, next question, Bianca?
Wondering if you know how many people are in the current evacuation area, and if you could share an update on the efforts to notify everyone there, and if people are cooperating in listening.
So the question was how many people are impacted and have had to evacuate, and how have the notifications been going out, and are they cooperating? Chief Alfaro?
Thank you for that question. So right now we believe an estimate of about 40,000 people impacted in the evacuation area. As far as the cooperation levels, we are tracking that. We are experiencing about a 15% refusal rate. As far as how we are getting the messaging out, we've done a 911 reverse call to everyone in that evacuation area. Social media post. We're constantly updating it and getting that messaging out. So it is out there if people are paying attention, but this is where we need our community to really come together. This is where we need our partners in the media to get that information out. Tell your neighbors what's going on if they haven't been paying attention, and we are monitoring sensitive locations for any additional needs and resources that we can put that way. Thank you.
I'm going to pause that really quick. Another person out in Cali saying this. Thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it. Thank you, David. I appreciate that. He says, hey, Pascal, new here, just moved to Anaheim from St. Louis with my wife. Just got married and decided to move here to Anaheim to be closer to her family when we heard about the toxic leak. We are watching it closely. Pray for us. First off, yes. I mean, I feel like you and a lot of people in the area are all very, very concerned. And seriously, my prayers to every single last one of y'all out there. Seriously, this is a scary time. Thank you so much for giving us the heads up. And thank you so much for watching this show. You could be watching anything else. And so I do appreciate that. Yes, or you could be watching this news coverage this type of news coverage anywhere else. So I do appreciate you covering or watching the show here, and getting your information here. I do appreciate it. Now, here's the thing. Yeah, that's one thing I'm concerned. A lot of people are talking about the possibility of these the chemical getting out in the air. Here's the thing. If it's bleving, that's the thing I'm wondering, if there has been gas that has already escaped. You see what I'm saying already? And if that's the case, then it's already in the air, and that would be bad. But it sounds like if it was to just get like explode and get all over the place, then yeah, it would definitely be in the air much more. But still, if it's like a slow, small little leak going out, it's going out in the air. It's still in the air, y'all. So again, it's like, if you can, pack up your stuff and go, guys. I'd rather you be right. I'd rather be alive and wrong than dead and wrong and right. You see what I'm saying? I had a better phrase. I'll say it again. I'll figure it out. Okay. Super May, thank you so much for the super sticker. I really do appreciate it. Let's continue on. Let's hear what more information do they have for us?
I don't have an answer for you on that. So this is a dynamic situation, and we're gonna be hopeful that we can resolve this quickly. But everyone needs to take the safety measures that are in place from their local public safety offices and adhere to those so they can make sure that they and their families are completely safe. Thank you.
All right. Ma'am?
Yeah, I have two questions. One is, you guys were talking about a failed valve. How does that factor into this? Like, you guys, does that mean it couldn't offload properly, and that's why you guys couldn't get it out of there on time, and that's what's creating this whole issue? And then the second question I had was, we were hearing from residents that police were telling them that birds were found dead nearby. Have you heard about that at all?
So first, let's address the valve question you had. So you were wondering the impacts of the valve and how that impacted operations. Chief Freeman?
Yeah, so to the question of the valve, there are multiple valves on this tank. While we were doing the transferring process and also trying to introduce a stabilizer into the tank to take away the concern, it was identified that there was no flow going back and forth between the tank, basically meaning there's some form of inclusion in the valves. And we are unable to get anything out, and we are unable to get anything in to stabilize these tanks.
What kind of impact it could have health-wise? Can you expand on that? Like, what kind of symptoms, when it gets in the air, people start breathing it in, what kind of symptoms could you start seeing, and could it overload the emergency system?
So that's a good question. As far as symptomology, as I previously stated, respiratory is our primary concern. So it's a respiratory irritant. So it can start off very mild, but it can progress to a point where, yes, you would probably require hospitalization, if not more. The other indicators more early on are going to be skin and eye irritation that might be felt by anybody that is exposed should there be a release. Both. You have the potential if we have a major release for an acute impact, and then if there is a prolonged release, there could be a chronic impact depending on what occurs in this incident.
For some additional information on the health impact, we're going to invite County Health Officer Dr. CK up. She can provide a little more context.
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here. As stated, it's very important for everybody to heed the instructions to evacuate. If you were told so, please evacuate. So what we know about methacrylate, which I'm going to refer to as MMA, is that it is a chemical that is very toxic. What we know in terms of human health is that we have very limited case reports of exposure. And when you have limited short-term exposure, meaning maybe you inhaled some of the vapor, it can cause significant irritation in the lungs, the nasal passages, and it can also cause nausea. It can also cause dizziness. At very high levels, it can really cause severe respiratory distress and hospitalization. And this is where we really need everybody to heed all of the evacuation orders. In terms of long-term consequence, it will affect other organs. In terms of birds and different animals are affected differently. Again, I'm working with EPA and South Coast AQMD, different specialists, to provide more information. And again, the reason why the evacuation zone was expanded was to take into consideration the potential of a plume. So again, if you're in the area and you were told to evacuate, please evacuate. So those are animal studies. In terms of the human effect, we don't know the long-term consequence, but already if it has that type of effect in mice, it can have the same effect in humans.
There's been very limited cases reported. Does that mean that there's possible shortage of knowledge on this for treatment-wise?
Yes, this is a unique situation We don't have information of a similar situation where this happened, right? So we're going into unique times, and we have limited information. We know it does cause irritation. We know on the occupational side, people who work with this material are advised to wear goggles or respirators, try not to get in contact. If it gets in contact with the skin, it can cause a significant skin irritation or allergy.
Chief Freeman?
Okay, we got time for one more question. Sir?
Yeah. Regarding the dispersal rate of this stuff, if it either spills or blows, is this stuff heavier than air, meaning it stays as close to the ground, or if you have an explosion, is it going to go up through widespread dispersion and cause problems? And second, for the health officer, if you take a breath of this stuff, how long before you have a lockout to the respiratory system? Is this similar to, say, OC or something like that, where you'll know about it in 10 or 15 seconds, or will it take longer if that happens? Chief Freeman, let's go first.
Okay, first question was, is the substance heavier or lighter than air? Chief Freeman will handle that, and then we'll turn it over to the doc.
Yeah, thank you for the question. This product is heavier than air, so it's going to settle and sink into the lower areas in and around that facility and any low holding places.
If it blows,
that's not good.
Light dispersion.
We are anticipating and just planning for that as an inevitability, which is part of our isolation zones that we've done, utilizing our current wind and weather conditions in that scenario.
And any injuries or deaths up to this point, people who work at the facility?
No injuries or deaths at this point.
Folks, so we're going to finish his other part of his question, and then that's going to be it for today. So, Doc, if you'd like to come up and explain the potential impacts if somebody was to inhale the substance.
So this depends on the concentration of exposure. We don't know. We don't know in terms of if there was a plume, how heavy of a plume and concentration of the substance would be in that plume. So if that were to happen, again, we want everybody to be away from the zone that we have created to safeguard everybody's health.
I would like to make one statement that I believe Chief Covey talked about. We are actively monitoring the air, and those limits right now are within normal limits. We are actively monitoring them. They are within normal limits. I just want to make sure we're clear, and we're going to continue to monitor them.
All right. And they also said highly flammable chemicals. So, yeah, this is not good.
Folks, that's going to conclude the speaking portion of the press conference. Thank you all for joining us today, and thank you to our community for their support.
Okay, we got that. And I appreciate them letting us know what the heck's going on. But obviously, I'm just going to keep it real. This is not good news, because it sounds like no matter what, it's all bad. Excuse me. It's all bad. Yeah, very, very, very bad. Okay, so if this gas gets out, it's heavy, so it's heavier than air. It'll settle. It'll settle in an area, around the area. And of course, they said they couldn't really gauge how far it could spread if there is an explosion to happen. But nonetheless, it's still bad, because it's not like it can just float up into the air and then dissipate up in the atmosphere. No, it sits, right? It'll sit. So that's not good. Right? Then also highly flammable chemicals as well. Then also you got to remember about all the liquid. If the liquid just goes everywhere, that's 34,000 gallons of liquid, toxic, flammable liquid, just going everywhere. So all of this is very bad. At the end of the day, all of this is extremely, extremely bad. 1 second. I'm trying to get something. It's being a little difficult right now. Let's take a look at this. Yeah. So again, guys, like, this is all not very good. Hold on. Let's get this. No, that's unnecessary stuff. All right. So right now, this is what we're knowing so far. Let me see if there's any more updates. I mean, we got all the updates so far. There's they've been covering this. Apparently, there's a pipeline burst in LA right now. What? Okay, let me look at that too. But they've been monitoring this. Local news in California has been monitoring this situation since yesterday. Okay, so people they're really keeping an eye on what's going on here over there for sure. So again, this is all bad. Yeah, okay. Not right now, but there was a pipeline that did burst in Cali like 8 hours ago, allegedly. But yeah, so that's not really breaking news right now. But nonetheless, this is all bad. They've been talking about this since yesterday. Let me show you what I'm talking about.
Darsha Phillips is live on scene with more. Darsha, what do you know about the evacuation there?
Yeah, Colleen, what we know is that Hazmat is here on scene, and they have evacuated buildings and neighborhoods within a half mile of every direction of this chemical release. And that's why we're being held so far back. I'm going to show you what we are seeing over our shoulder here. We are outside of the evacuation zone, but you can see what appears to be water being poured on the vat, that storage vat that released the chemical. Again, this did happen at a business on the 12,000 block of Western. That business manufactures acrylic plastics for the aerospace industry, and around 34,000 gallons of a chemical called methacrylic was released. It is a highly flammable and reactive chemical, and it can be explosive if exposed to heat, light, or air. That is why there is such a large evacuation zone, and officials are doing everything they can to keep the chemical cool.
The problem with this chemical is it is a possible flammable liquid, and it does have exothermic properties. Right now, the sprinklers that are a safety feature of the business are actually cooling down the chemical. We may be adding in additional water streams to continue cooling down the material.
Now, according to OCFA, the temperature of the chemical is not rising right now, and they're going to keep checking the temperature to make sure it stays that way. And evacuations are from Garden Grove to Orangewood to Western, again, a half mile in each direction of where this chemical was released. They are taking this very seriously. OCFA says that they have such a large evacuation zone because they want to take every precaution, and as they continue to monitor the situation, they will start to make that evacuation zone smaller and smaller until they can make sure that this stuff is not as flammable or explosive. That is definitely the concern. We're going to have much more on this coming up at 11. For now, Colleen, I'll send it back to you.
All right, Darsha, thank you. We're going to go back up to News Chopper 4. We've reestablished the signal there. Ileana, as you look at this, is this the sprinkler system that you're talking about? This is not the leak, correct?
That is correct, Colleen. So if you look at the tubing there that surrounds the tank, that is some sort of sprinkler system that is likely some sort of safety mechanism surrounding these tanks in case a situation like this were to happen. But there is an actual leak of the tank itself. So difficult to see exactly where that leak may be. There appears to be 3 different tanks here, and it's one of them that is the one that is leaking, not all 3. And it's a 34,000-gallon tank. So that is huge, considering that this is a highly flammable liquid. Of course, it is used for some sort of aerospace technology here that is a part of this company here in Garden Grove. And unfortunately, with that leak, it is creating a dangerous situation here for residents. Again, evacuations in the area. Colleen?
Ileana, before you go, give us an idea of how close the closest neighborhood that's being evacuated is to all of this.
Yeah, let me widen out, Colleen, so I can give you a better picture here. So this is a commercial area for the most part where this leak is located. You see all of these commercial buildings here. But if I just hop over, this is going to be hopping over Western over to the east. That is where we have the nearest residential neighborhood. So this is going to be Garden Grove. We're also right on the border with Stanton. So some residents of Stanton may also be impacted by this leak. But again, right on the border of Garden Grove and Stanton. Colleen?
All right, Ileana reporting for us live from News Chopper 4. Once again, we're going to keep a very close eye on this.
So this was happening yesterday. This whole video right here is from yesterday. So yeah, again, of course, there's a lot of concern of what's going on here. People are keeping an eye on this like crazy. We are too, or I am too. Of course, y'all are too. This is very scary stuff. And I'm hoping that they're wrong. Seriously, I'm hoping that they're absolutely wrong. I hope that there's nothing gonna happen. But we'll see. I'm just checking to see if there's more info. Hold on. Let's take a look at this too. Let's see this. Yeah.
Yeah, Annabelle, we actually just arrived at the news conference 15 minutes ago, but I was listening to it on the way here from another story. And I got to say, on the freeway and also getting closer to the Los Alamitos racetrack is what this presser just happened.
Actually, I just played that, so that's kind of old. We already heard what she had to say about all this. Hold on, let's see what is going on. Yeah, this is what I was looking for here.
NBC4's Amber Frias. She continues our team coverage from Garden Grove. Amber.
Hey, Annabelle. Yeah, we've been speaking with people out here who have been kind of on their way out, who have been evacuated from the area. And as you know, as many of us would be, they're scared. You know, they're feeling nervous, uneasy, and they say the worst part about it all is the uncertainty, not knowing, you know, what's going to happen, which of the two scenarios we've heard of, and when it's going to happen. We've also been hearing, you know, constant sirens from fire personnel in the area, which is also making people a little more nervous. We asked officials about it. They tell us they're just kind of preparing, staging in the area in case something happens. They're also going out and making sure people that are being asked to evacuate have evacuated, because that is the most important thing right now because of the danger of this chemical that we have. Now, as you can see behind me, or if you're able to see behind me, there are several businesses here that are completely shut down. That is part of the evacuation area. We're here on the border of Garden Grove and Stanton. And like we've been hearing, there is a total of 5 OC cities under these evacuation orders. That is Buena Park, Stanton, Garden Grove, Cypress, and also Westminster. A total of 40,000 people that are being impacted. We heard earlier that there are still about 15% of those people that haven't left their homes, but of course they're being urged to do so just because of the danger of this situation. Now, like I mentioned, we've been speaking with people, you know, who are heading out. A lot of people concerned and nervous about the situation, but let's listen to what one man had to say.
Learned about this last night. Last night was the first time we ever heard about it. I had barely gotten off work. It was maybe around, I want to say 4 or 5. That's when two PD officers had passing through my neighborhood, saying that emergency evacuation, please release, let's go. And so that's when we left. And not until maybe hours until 9 o'clock, then it was lifted. But we thought it was fine. But the next morning, coming down to work, my uncle was dropping me off. We see a police officer stopping the road again. So we stopped and asked them, hey, is the evacuation restarted? They're like, yes. But the thing is, no officer came down our streets. We weren't alerted or anything. So we didn't know what was going on in the situation.
So some confusion is what we're hearing from some people in the area, especially after they were evacuated last night. Then they were allowed back into their homes and again evacuated this morning. There are also people who are still unsure about what's going on, why there are so many street closures in the area. But definitely people are becoming more aware about the concerning situation. Now, right now, nothing has happened yet. There is no cause for concern. The air is fine. The air quality is what it typically is at this time, but authorities do want people to just be ready and prepared for whatever is to happen. And if you do evacuate, like we've been mentioning, there are several evacuation centers set up for you. One of them is in Garden Grove at the Garden Grove Sports and Recreation Center, the other one at the Cypress Community Center. But for now, reporting live from Garden Grove, Amber Frias, NBC.
Okay. Yeah, so obviously they're keeping an eye on this. And this could also, this could get very bad. This has potential of getting very, 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 very bad. Here's the oil pipeline thing. Let's take a look at this.
News Chopper 4 was over the LA River in Southgate. You can see the thick black oil in the water making its way south toward Long Beach, where the channel meets the ocean. Let's go to NBC4's John Caddy's Climac live in East LA. John, you've been there since early this morning for Today in LA. Talk us through what's happening out there.
Yeah, Michelle, this is where it all started. Just after 3 o'clock this morning is when that first call went into 911. It was from the crews that were working on the ground that actually called that in to say, we made a mistake. Behind us over here is where it all happened. There's an area of the ground there that just opened up because of how strong it was that this oil was pumping itself out through the ground. I want to take you to some video to show you how the cleanup has been going throughout the morning. They've been spreading some stuff down there to kind of clean up what they can in the roadway. Luckily, it does not affect any businesses here, just one Jack in the Box that had to close because of all this. But they've been working to clean that out of here initially before it would get into the storm drain. Unfortunately, we now know it did get into the storm drain, and it has now reached the LA River. I want you to hear from what the fire department was telling us this morning.
Like, what is going on in LA, man? Like, what is going on? Have mercy.
Right. No, it's not a health risk, and we have teams in the area actively monitoring the atmosphere to make sure that we're all well below permissible exposure limits, and we are. The big risk right now that we're worried about is to the environment. We really want to make sure that this didn't arrive to the LA River and certainly not out to the coast.
Now, we have been keeping an eye on where this is all going as you look at what's happening out here right now. We do know from News Chopper 4, they've been following the oil. We know it made its way to the LA River. We saw it near Firestone in the 710. They've got the booms set up there to try to pick up as much as they can to suck up any of that oil. But unfortunately, we did already see that there is a sheen in Long Beach where that oil is now reaching the Pacific Ocean. The EPA, we understand, is investigating all this. And we do want to point out the boarding company. They're being investigated now. It's a company called HP Communications. They're working on putting some fiber lines down. They're now being investigated for what happened early this morning. A lot to come from this throughout the day. Our NBC.
Yeah, this is not good. Nah, that's not good either. So you got this, like I said, a tank. Okay, you got a tank that's about to go off. All right, about to go boom, boom, big time, about to explode. All right, you got that going on. And then you got this oil pipeline that ruptured, that the water has gone into the LA River. So it is all very, very bad right now. And sorry for hopping off the tank situation. I just wanted to show you that because I didn't see that video until just now. But yeah, nonetheless, this is all not good at all. We're going back to the tank. This is what they were talking about last night. Here we go.
Begin tonight with breaking news. A hazmat alert in Garden Grove, an industrial chemical leaking for hours.
Desmond Shaw live over the scene in SkyCal. But first, let's get to our Nicole Comstock.
Yeah, neighbors have been worried about this leak for hours now and tell us there was a distinctly sweet smell in the air that has since dissipated. But if you take a look behind us tonight, you can still see a little bit of steam rising off that facility. We are told that things are under control now, and those who were kept out of their streets earlier are making their way back home as evacuations.
I mean, I feel like, isn't this the start of like The Walking Dead or something crazy like that? I mean, I'm not trying to bring any fear to anybody. I'm just saying this is just some wild stuff. But Carl, thank you so much for the love, Carl. Hello. How you doing all the way from Australia? Good day. Appreciate it. Thank you so much for the love and being a member for the past 2 months. I appreciate it. We get a text message if there is an emergency in my area. This was initiated after the Black Saturday bush fires in 2009. That's what's up. That's what's up. Yeah, they apparently they gave out alerts to everyone, and they said about 40% of the community did not receive an alert. That's it. Like maybe they sent out emails and text messages to phone numbers of people that don't live in that area anymore, so on and so forth. So now they are literally going door to door. We saw all that footage where they're going door to door, knocking on everyone's houses and saying, hey, please pack up your stuff and please go. Pack up your stuff and go. And I'm saying this right now for those of y'all who are watching this show right now and you live in that area, please leave. Please go. I know that it's really annoying and this is all trash. This is all messed up and this is probably messing up your weekend for you and your family because there's a huge holiday weekend coming up. Pools are going to be opening up for the first time for the summer and everything. Y'all getting ready for that. And all those plans might be going out the window right now, but it's going to be all right. Okay. It's going to be all right. SoCal Gal said, I received texts, but not to evacuate yet. SoCal Gal, I will say, I mean, they're saying online, I mean, they're saying in the press conference to please leave. So if you are in that area, please go. Please go. Don't wait for that text message. Just go. You know, like I said, you might have to go and crash at a good friend's house for the weekend, or go to your extended family's homes for the weekend. Do whatever you need to do by any means necessary. Pack up your stuff and go. Okay? But let us continue. We're going to play a little bit more of this.
Evacuations have since been lifted. Take a look at this video from a little bit closer into that facility. The situation started developing out here just before 4 this evening on Western Avenue in Garden Grove. A company that makes plastic epoxy for aircraft parts noticed a leak of some sort on a 34,000-gallon tank. Now, that material inside of it, which is called MMA, is apparently flammable and self-heating, and that was obviously the cause for concern with neighbors being so close by. Now, the Orange County Fire Authority says the company's sprinklers were engaged right away to start cooling that tank down, and the fire authority also started spraying it with water. Out of an abundance of caution, they say they told people on those surrounding streets to evacuate. Some did, but many stayed home, and some were just stuck outside of the roadblocks and weren't able to make it back in after the situation developed. We just spoke with a family in that exact same situation.
That's
Here
so
they are.
messed up.
Our animals are at home and we can't get to them, and not knowing how severe the leak is, and as it loses.
You'd think that they would, like, you know, for those who are trying to get back, like they would get, you know, escorted to their homes, you know what I mean? So that they can go, I don't know, do whatever they need to do, pack up their dogs, pack up their animals, you know, if they can do that, and then just leave. You see what I'm saying? And I know that they can't do that for 40,000 plus people, but at the same time, I don't know. To make the situation a little bit easier, I guess it would be interesting. Peg, thank you so much for the love. Can Pasadena be affected? Asking for Lisa. That is a question I do not know. I do not have the answer to that, unfortunately. I wish I did. But they didn't really say anything much outside of that. Outside of what they said as far as the immediate area. Nicole B, thank you so much for the love. Please go. I can hear them saying the text alert system failed now. Yeah, because we've heard that before, have we not? Multitude of times. So, and again, somebody else said in the chat, hey, you know, some people aren't going to be able to move or aren't going to be able to leave. And that's more than just able-bodied people. That's more than just people who aren't able-bodied. There are still people that are going to be like, this is my only home. I have no extended family, or I have no friends. Where can I go? And I know that's a real thing too. All I can say is, I don't know, maybe, and that's the other thing too, because that becomes costly when you're trying to go get a hotel or motel or Holiday Inn. I understand those things can be a bit tough as well. But you really can't, just like Zoots and Boots said in the chat, you can't really shelter in place in the situation. You kind of have to just pick up your stuff and go. For those who are not able-bodied, I would say hopefully they're able to get in contact with people who love them, who care for them, that can help them move out or get out. Okay, that's just another thing that they just have to put in consideration as well. And that's what sucks about this situation. Nobody should be put into this situation at all, because I feel precautions, protocols, etc., were lax. That's what I think. Okay. There's things that they could have done at that facility, and I think that they stopped doing it or weren't doing it at all. And now we're here. And I'm hoping that other plants and other facilities that carry highly toxic, highly flammable chemicals of the sort like this particular facility, I'm hoping that they're taking notes and doing whatever they can to make sure that safety protocols are implemented in their facilities, because this could happen in any other city, anywhere across the globe. Just saying that out loud. Let's continue, though.
Its stability, it gets hotter and hotter and then can explode. Kind of scary.
And we're told that liquid has since been cooled down to a safe level, and the company will now take over from here, offloading the liquid and working to repair the leak in that tank. Again, all evacuation orders have since been lifted, so people are just finally starting to make their way back home.
Now, this is good. Okay. Night Lord guys just said we have evacuation sites set up here. No one is paying for shelter. That's what's up. You have evacuation sites set up here. Where's here, Night Lord guy? Where's that? Can you put it in the chat if you know a place? If you're talking about one of your own, put it in the chat, please, and I will share. If it is in the area in which this evacuation is going on, that would be fantastic. Let me continue this really quick.
Reporting live in Garden Grove, Nicole Comstock.
And Des, is that the chemical that we're seeing coming out of that tank?
No, Pat and Juan. This is all water from its kind of self-contained sprinkler system that has been keeping this at a safe temperature right now. Let's show you some earlier video too when they were getting a boost from Orange County Fire when they had their high-pressure hose line on this as well. That was earlier this afternoon when we saw that. But you see now that we have some personnel that are down here milling about. This tells me that the situation is a lot more safe. They have a forklift here, and it looks like here are the containers down here that they're going to be using to transport that liquid and get it out of that leaking tank. So very good news here, hopefully in the winding down phases of this incident. But at Western Avenue out here, a fairly major thoroughfare anyway in the Garden Grove area, is still shut down until this is completely wrapped up. Live at Sky Cal overhead, I'm Desmond Shaw. Pat and Juan, back to you in the studio.
Okay, so again, obviously, this is from last night. All right, the last two videos I showed you guys was from last night, so they've been keeping an eye on this a lot. And they're going to continue to keep an eye on it throughout the night until this thing stops, until this thing explodes, leaks, bursts, blevs, whatever the hell it does. Whatever the hell it does, they're going to keep an eye on this. I just hope that, man, I'm just hoping whatever needs to be done gets done soon. Like, because honestly, no, that I don't need that.
But we begin tonight with break.
Hold on. Sorry about that, guys. But honestly, like, you know what I mean? Like, I know everybody wants to get back to their lives. The people in that area want to get back to their lives. The people over there want to go and, spend time with their families, enjoy this weekend. I know it's just one weekend. It's just one weekend out of the rest of their lives. But at the same time, it'd be really nice if everybody can be able to get back home after whatever is done, whatever's needing to be done with these tanks is done. You see what I'm saying? That's it. But again, guys, please pack up your stuff. Okay. Buddy boy just said this is right by my house. I had to evacuate. I'm hoping that you're safe. I hope you're somewhere safe. Okay. Because again, that's what matters the most right now is getting away from this situation. I get it. You probably had plans this weekend to enjoy your time at home with family and whatnot, but this is important too. Living and not potentially getting sick from any type of chemicals coming out of those tanks. So please pack up your stuff and go. Let me take a look at this here too. There's a live
Got it.
feed going
in an
on.
ideal situation here, how do you handle this chemical? Is it through, if you were to drain it out of the tanks that it's in, is it through a tube? How is this normally handled?
I'm just going to show this to you guys really quick, but you can't hear the other side of the conversation. That's a problem. But he is talking to somebody about something. And you got the camera on a robotic slider behind him, behind the screen.
I just want to get your reaction as a scientist and a chemist when you kind of heard about this. What was your initial reaction to knowing that they've only got these two options?
Yeah. So like I said, you can't hear anything with this, which kind of sucks, right? Kind of unfortunate. But we all get the idea. Something bad is potentially going to happen. The way that they are saying it, it makes it sound like there is something that is going to go down. Ish is about to hit the fan very, very soon. When? We don't know, but it is coming, which is very frustrating. Okay. And we'll find out more information when we get there. Now, here's something else I did want to share with y'all, because this just happened literally about an hour or two, like literally like an hour, no, actually like minutes before I went live. All right. Again, let me just remind you, pack up your stuff. If you are in the area, pack up your stuff. I'm sorry for sounding like a broken record. I apologize, but I have to. Please be careful, drive carefully, pack up, get out, and do what you need to do. Somebody just said, Pascal, look at CB's chat. CB. Local evacuation centers, Cypress Community Center, and Garden Grove Sports and Recreation Center. Okay, let me just remove this chat really quick so you guys can see this. So there it is. So those are two locations you could go to if you don't have a place to actually stay. Also, if you can't afford it, and there's no shame in that. If you can't afford it, you can't afford it. You know what I'm saying? It's okay. I think there's a lot of people that, you know, would sit there and go, dang, I don't want to spend any money on a hotel right now. I want to save that money. So I get it. You know, I totally understand. So there are at least two centers, it looks like. Okay, the Cypress Center, the Cypress Community Center, and Garden Grove Sports and Recreation Center. You can go to either of those two spots. So again, CB, thank you so much for sharing that information with the chat. That means a lot. And I repeat, please go pack up your stuff and get going. Pack up your stuff and get going. Okay? Don't know when this thing's going to erupt, but it's going to erupt at some point. So might as well go somewhere and be safe. All right? And yeah, I agree. The company should pay for it. If you're going to a hotel, they should be paying for that, because this is an inconvenience to yourself, to your whole family, and your finances as well. So they should be paying for that as well. Real talk. Okay? Period. Now, we got to get into this, okay? Something has been popping off outside of a courthouse in Raleigh, North Carolina. A woman walked up and went pew-pew on two mother-loving lawyers. Yeah, y'all, we have got to talk about this because this is absolutely insane. All right, so lawyers are hit outside courthouse in Raleigh. They were representing a police in a body camera case. So this woman, Gwendolyn White, who happens to be black, just so you know, okay, she opened fire, and she's being charged with attempted murder in connection with the shootings of Mary Harris and Jeffrey Whitley, lawyers with Fox Rothschild. So what in the F is going on here? This just happened, y'all. I'm not kidding. So let's take a look at this. Two attorneys representing the Rolesville Police Department were shot outside the Old Wake County Courthouse in downtown Raleigh on Friday morning. Oh, I guess this happened this morning. My bad. I guess I only heard about this recently, okay, like right before I got on live. But Gwendolyn White, 57-year-old woman of Raleigh, is charged with attempted murder in connection with the shootings of Mary Harris and Jeffrey Whitley. Harris is an associate and Whitley counsel for Fox Rothschild, a national law firm with offices in Raleigh. So Harris's father told WRAL News that his daughter was in stable condition and recovering from surgery early Friday evening. So court records show the Fox Rothschild attorneys were representing the Rolesville police in a 4-year-old case involving officer-worn body camera video. So court filings show the hearing for I guess the hearing was emotional for White because she claims the contents of the video were linked to her mother's death last year. So the suspect became very belligerent in court. This is what the chief of police said After White left the courthouse, Boyce said she returned to her car, got a pew-pew, and then shot these attorneys as they were exiting the building. So police quickly took White into custody, and here she is right there. Don't worry, we're going to be looking at that, some more video about her here in a second. So the town of Roseville issued a statement as police continue to investigate the shooting, saying, "We are saddened to learn that 2 attorneys representing the town of Roseville in a civil matter were shot outside the Wake County Courthouse this morning. Fox Rothschild has represented the town of Roseville for decades, and while they are not employees of the town, this incident is deeply disturbing. We are thankful to the first responders who provided life-saving care and apprehended the suspect. Our thoughts and prayers are with everyone involved." So again, it's pretty insane stuff. And of course, we're going to get into some of this footage or this conversation because this is absolutely crazy. And again, it makes you wonder, what was this body cam footage really showing that made this person so irate and so enraged, right? What were they hiding possibly? You know what I mean? What's really going on here, right?
From WRAL, coverage you can count on.
A woman is in custody. This after police say she shot 2 attorneys outside of the Wake County Courthouse.
In just the last 10 minutes, we learned the identity of the suspect. Police say 57-year-old Gwendolyn White got angry inside court, left and got a gun out of her car. 2 attorneys that were in the same courtroom were shot as they were leaving the courthouse. All 3 people are believed to be connected by a civil court case. We have team coverage tonight on how all of this unfolded, including the court case that was unfolding prior to the shooting.
A terrifying situation for so many people. WRL's Megan Cloherty starting our coverage tonight live from the courthouse. Megan, we need to start first with the victims and how they're doing. What do we know?
Dan, it's hard to say. We know that right after they were shot, they were both rushed into surgery. All of us, of course, are hoping for the best, but we have not gotten an updated condition on either of the attorneys, a man and a woman who were shot here just before 11 o'clock this morning. Let me show you the scene here. You can see behind me the Raleigh Police Command Center still set up. Obviously, all of Fayetteville Road blocked off, still bordered with this police crime scene tape. And just past the entrance to the Wake County Courthouse, there is an alley. Obviously, you can't see it. It runs parallel to the building. That is where the attorneys were shot, right by the entrance to the old courthouse. We have been out here all day long. There's been a number of reporters here trying to collect sound from witnesses, from people who were inside the courtroom at the time. And we actually were able to get some video of Gwendolyn White's arrest earlier today. She was arrested moments after she fired those shots, and we understand she was pulled back into the courthouse, where that was the closest lockup area that deputies knew about. So almost minutes after the shooting, she was in custody inside the Wake County Courthouse, where she was put in a locked cell. And of course, we understand she was then taken for some kind of medical treatment. We're not sure what that was, but authorities releasing her name tonight. Heidi Kirk has been down here live with me for most of the day, and she was tasked with finding out more about these attorneys, who they were, trying to reach out to family members. And Heidi, I know you spoke with one of the attorney's fathers. How is he doing?
I mean, this is what's so crazy about this is they go in there, they have their trial, they have their hearing, that kind of thing. She is irate, she's angry. Court is adjourned. She walks out, she goes to the car, she gets the weapon, she goes and finds the lawyers, and she pew-pews the weapon. She pew-pews the lawyers. Why? I don't know, right? Because she's just that mad, and that she wants revenge. But I'm like, why? Why did they do that? Or why did she do that? What is really the full story behind this? Because there's clearly something going on. We've heard this kind of story before, where you've had people going through divorce. There was something that we covered about, I don't even know, maybe four years ago, maybe 4 years ago, where a guy was going through, if I'm correct, he was going through some sort of divorce, and he went into the courtroom. He was having this, going through whatever he was going through with his soon-to-be ex-wife, and then walked out to the car, came back up, and just shot everybody. Now, this was years ago that we covered that, but it was crazy, right? So again, you know, what's going on here? Does this Gwendolyn White woman assume that they were withholding information? What was the body cam footage chopped up in some sort of way? Does it not show the whole situation? What was the situation in which the cops had to show up in the first place? And why would they have to have their body camera turned on in this particular situation? You see what I'm saying? So there are questions that I have, right? I think that we all are kind of curious about. And I'm going to let this play a little bit more. I'm going to look this up here really quick. So I have a little bit more information.
What are you doing right now? Well, Megan, I think that everyone attached to this is really shaken up. And I want to mention something first. Just within the last few minutes, Raleigh police actually opened up this stretch of Salisbury Street where a lot of the police investigation this afternoon.
So here it is. So I forgot to say this, or I said it in the article, but let me just say this again. And Peg, thank you so much for the love. I appreciate the super chat. Thank you so much. Thank you. And yes, please hit that like button down below, please, and thank you. Okay, it helps our show, helps us continue growing, and all that. But something I forgot to say, okay, because Gwendolyn White believes that during this hearing, she got emotional and she was saying that she claims that the contents of the actual video of this body cam footage is linked to her mother's death that happened last year. So something happened, okay? And then apparently the suspect, Miss White, became belligerent in court, okay? And then after she left the courthouse, she returned her car, got the weapon, and then she shot the attorneys. So she believes that this body cam footage has something to do with her mother's death. Let's continue.
Afternoon has been focused. You can see them here taking down some of that crime scene tape that is really spread across this area for most of the day. Now, of course, I want to get to that information that we're learning from the father of the female victim. Now, we have not gotten official confirmation from Raleigh police on either victim's names, but that father did give us an update on the woman's condition. He said that she is currently in surgery, but told us that she is stable. So for now, of course, that is very good news. He did ask us not to report her name, so for the time being, we will not be doing that. We know the other victim in this case was a man. We also do not know his name. Now, we know both of them work for the law firm Fox Rothschilds LLP. They were representing Rollsville's police department here at the courthouse today. We talked to people who were inside the courthouse when the two people were shot, describing what they saw outside a window.
Hold on, we're gonna go to that, but let me pull this. We're gonna continue with that, but let me just pull this up here really quick so we can see exactly what's going on here. Of course, this is her mugshot here. Okay, so this is Gwendolyn White. So 57-year-old Gwendolyn White is now in custody, and she's now facing attempted M charges. Okay, they say that 3 people were involved. The 3 people that were involved were connected in connection to this whole civil lawsuit or civil court case that was happening today. All right. So what happened? What police say happened? All right. Investigators say the shooting happened shortly after a court proceeding Friday morning. Police say White left the courthouse, went to her car, retrieved the handgun, and then approached the 2 attorneys in the alley, in an alley before opening fire. So officers and deputies nearby quickly took her into custody. Now, she suffered some sort of injury, just so you know, but apparently it may have been just them taking her down and, of course, detaining her, arresting her, and all that. So that might have been where she got hurt, okay? But moving on, okay? People inside the courthouse described a sudden and unsettling scene. This is very wild, especially with it happening while we were in family court. This is what a witness was saying. To be here when something like this happens is kind of unsettling, said another. The alley where the shooting happened has since been reopened after an hours-long investigation. No visible evidence of bullet damage remained at the actual scene Friday afternoon. She's been identified, of course, as we already know. Let's see. That's basically it. Everything else is pretty much what we know. But these are the two that were actually shot. Jeffrey Whitley and Mary Harris. Mary Harris and Jeffrey Whitley, just so y'all know. But let's continue here.
But we was in court, and then we heard gunshots. So then the police rushed to the door. So we got up and looked out the window I was in courtroom 301. So from the window I was at, you could see like the lady laying.
The town of Rollsville has released a statement saying that they are deeply saddened by this, and they have worked with the law firm that both of these attorneys worked for decades now. We've yet to hear from the law firm itself, and we're still working to get an update, the latest update on both of these victims. Heidi Kirk, WREL News.
Blocks away from me, and he is working.
And we already saw this part. So this is that was the full coverage of everything that was going on. So again, I'm kind of curious what actually happened here. You know, why did it happen why did this happen? What happened before that got her so heated? Obviously, it's something about her mother's death, but how did her mama die? How did mom die? And how does this body cam footage have anything to do with the death of her mom? That's the thing I think a lot of us are wanting to know. But I'm sure things will come out more. Because I'm looking and I don't see any more information except for this here. Hold on.
Major David Ellis, Major Newkirk from the Sheriff's Office. Chief.
Thank you, Robin. I want to begin by first giving the family, let them know that we're thinking about them. We will work with them to get them answers to exactly what happened here today. The information that I'm going to provide is very preliminary. It is subject to change. So just work with us as we investigate this matter. What I do know is just after 10:30 this morning, Wake County Sheriff's deputies and Raleigh police officers responded to a shooting just outside the old courthouse here on Fayetteville Street. When deputies and officers came out of the courthouse, they encountered an adult female who was in possession of a handgun. That female was taken into custody. Shortly after taking her in custody, the deputies and officers located 2 adult victims that were suffering from gunshots. After placing the suspect in custody and providing medical attention to the 2 victims, the victims was transported to a local hospital, and at this time I do not know the condition of their injuries. What we do know is that there was some court case here in the old courthouse on the 10th floor with all the parties involved. The suspect in this case became belligerent in court. That court case ended. The suspect left the courthouse, retrieved their vehicle and returned back to the courthouse here on Fayetteville Street. The suspect got out of the vehicle, approached the 2 victims, shot both victims, and that's when the deputies and officers were able to take that suspect in custody. We are working to find out exactly what that court case was about. We do believe it was a civil matter between the suspect and the 2 parties, the 2 victims. Right now, Wake County Sheriff's Office and the Raleigh Police Department are working to investigate this matter together. We also have the Federal Protective Services here at the Federal Courthouse that will be helping us as well in this investigation. At this time, this area will be locked down for quite a while as we investigate this. I have been informed from the Wake County District Attorney that court will end at 1 p.m. today. So all matters within Wake County at the old courthouse and the new courthouse will be shut down at 1 p.m. today. At this time, I'll take a few questions about what occurred here today.
Chief, take a step to your right, please. Thank you. The suspect, were they a client of the 2 attorneys who were shot?
I do not know that. What I can confirm is all 3 were involved in the same court case. The suspect as well as the 2 victims.
Crazy.
When you say that this suspect became belligerent in court earlier, what do you know, I know preliminarily, of what their interactions were just prior?
Right. Their behavior was inappropriate in court. The suspect left court, and shortly thereafter, the court case was terminated. The suspect left the courthouse and returned in their vehicle just prior to.
So it sounds like she was suing. That's what it sounds like to me. Sounds like she was suing the police department, I guess, over this body cam footage or this body camera stuff, and then it didn't work out in her favor, and so she got mad, she got irate, and went out to the car, got her weapon, and pulled the trigger on the lawyers that were actually representing the Roseville Police Department. So that's what it is. She got mad because I think she wanted to get at least some sort of justice. Financial justice is what it looks like she was going for. This was a civil lawsuit. This was a civil court case. So, yeah. So I think that's what happened. Okay? I think that's what happened. But let's continue.
The shooting.
So did you say the suspect was left on her own, or she was escorted out?
Yes, the suspect left on their own and returned back in a vehicle.
Can you confirm that the victims were attorneys?
I cannot confirm that, but I can confirm they were all in the same courtroom for the same case.
Mm-hmm.
All right, thank you. That's all the
Again, well, hold on.
best time for today.
And we'll be providing updates as we can.
Then they're going to be providing updates. So again, obviously something bad happened. Clearly, she didn't like what was going on in court. She apparently was very mad in court as well. She lost her mind in court as well, and then went into went out of her way to start some ish, right? Went out of her way to get some sort of, in her mind, some sort of justice, which is absolutely crazy. There is something else I did want to share with y'all. I just need to find. I have it here. I just needed to find it really quick. We haven't talked about this, and this is a bit of a left turn. This is a left turn, but I just want to get you guys savvy to what we're dealing with when it comes to these data centers that are popping up everywhere. If you haven't noticed already, data centers are popping up everywhere, y'all. Data centers are everywhere, and they are not going to stop anytime soon. They are not. And the more we allow these facilities and these centers to actually become, to be built in a city near you, the more they're getting away with a lot of stuff. You realize that, right? If we don't start asking questions, now, we could be in a whirlwind of trouble. Yeah, they're big everywhere, creep. You say, says Pascal, data centers are big here in Arizona. They're everywhere, guys. They're everywhere. There's 3 of them that are already being built in my neck of the woods. There's already a whole bunch of them being built in neighboring cities and neighboring states as well. It is absolutely bad. And the fact that they keep telling us one thing, and then we're seeing and hearing something completely different as a result. That's the problem. It's that snake oil salesman thing. They're like, oh, we're gonna bring jobs to the community. No, you're not. You're gonna be bringing jobs to the community to build these buildings, sure. But as soon as they get done building the building, which is only, a certain allotted amount of time, you only need a certain amount of people to run the facility. And that's it. Then you bounce. You kick rocks. The job market is not going to change that drastically and that dramatically with all of these data centers. I'm just going to say it. We should all be savvy to that. That's the same thing I'm wondering too. What are they even for? You want to know what they're for? For us people out here who can't remember our Netflix password, who want to make a funny little AI video to send to a friend. You see what I'm saying? It's dumb, stupid things like that these data centers are for. To remember your passwords for you, to do AI, to mess with certain programs, to download, to upload, to all those things are going on through this data center. So unfortunately, the only way that these data centers would ever cease to exist is if we stopped doing all the stupid stuff that we do. But you know for a fact that ain't going to change. Do you know how many passwords we all have? Every single last one of us has a password, has passwords on several different accounts. Shoot, you went to flowers.com or whatever the hell it is to send some flowers to a friend, you know, or to your mama for Mother's Day. You had to have a password for that. You see what I'm saying? You got to have a username and a password for that account, even though you've only used it once and you probably never use it again. That's still being shot out into space to some sort of big gray box that's remembering your stuff. Ain't that crazy? All the movies you're streaming, this show that you're streaming right now, all those things get shot into a data center and shot back out. Real talk. So I get it that there is a demand for it. There is. But there's got to be a better way to keep things clean and help with our environment. And you know what? And most importantly, help with how we consume water, air, etc. You know, clean water, clean air. These are simple things that every single human being on this planet should have a right to. Simple rights. Now they're being messed with. Hold on. Tipsy, thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it. The damn data centers. Thank you for speaking on this. Of course, we need to talk about it. And we may tap into it in a much broader or much bigger conversation in the near future. But for right now, I just want you to see this, okay? So AOC, okay, said this, which is wild, okay? Showing us drinking water in Georgia after Facebook, Meta, okay, began a data center construction in a specific community. This is crazy. You just got to see this for yourself, okay? You saw what she had in her hand. That's apparently the drinking water in a city where they have a data center. It gets worse.
I have a jar right here. This is the current drinking water in Morgan County, Georgia.
Crazy.
Right after a data center was constructed, the Meta data center was constructed. The only difference between the clean water and this was that data center. I have another one as well. So this wasn't just one well. These wasn't just one family's situation. This is what the drinking water now looks like next to that data center. And I think both of us can agree that neither one of these things are drinkable.
Yeah, that's definitely not iced coffee. That for damn show ain't some mocha frappe latte, okay? And that other one, I don't even, was there mold in that ish? Like that stuff is gross. And this is what is going on right next to these data centers, y'all. Right next to these data centers.
These families now have to ship, in a rural area, have to ship water to their house in order to cook and bathe themselves. Now, I'm curious if the EPA plans any investigations on how data centers are affecting water quality and availability. I understand what you said about the rule, but are there going to be any open investigations on this issue?
So as soon as I get back to the office, I will be looking into exactly what you've just talked about, because anywhere, whatever type of construction it is a priority to ensure that water quality standards established by EPA are being met. And so we'll be looking into that certainly.
Thank you.
Okay, first off, how is this a surprise to you? I'm just saying, like, this should already been known. People have already been talking about the water near, in these cities that have data centers. There are people that are sitting there saying, like, our power, our electricity is bad. Even our electricity, the power that we have in our homes is not as powerful as it used to be because of these data centers. So you're talking about electricity and water completely being messed with now because of these data centers. Okay? Which is absolutely crazy. So let's see here. Messi, thank you so much for being a member for the past 17 months. I appreciate that. People want to complain about data centers, but they use the cloud without understanding the house. Without understanding, they house the servers storing the data in the cloud. Yes, yeah, you're right. Like I said, we use all of this. All of this stuff is what we use, right? You take a photo and it goes straight up to the cloud. We anything, right? All of these things that we use on a daily basis, abso-freaking-lutely, we are using it. So yeah, if there was no high demand for this, absolutely. If there was no high demand for this, there would be no data centers. So this is the bad part. That's the bad part about it, because it's a thing that is of need to a certain extent. You got to remember, everybody and their mama has a phone or two. Shoot, there are kids out here 7 years old that have their own phone. Real talk, their own little iPhone, little Android, whatever you rock with, having that. So yes, Buddha, it is supply and demand. But the problem is that they're not telling us how bad this really is. And then so they're just quickly erecting all of these data centers and not telling us about the bad part. They're not telling us about the pollution that it emulates, or emits. You know what I mean? They're not saying the dirty water that they're distributing to people in nearby cities and towns and neighborhoods. This is a very bad thing, and this is something that they need to figure out as soon as possible. All of us that use the Netflix, the Facebooks, the Instagrams, the TikToks, the YouTubes, all this internet stuff has to be controlled by something. And they see money in it. There's money. These are very wealthy guys that are throwing these things and making these things happen, because the more powerful that they are, the more powerful that their platforms are, the more money they make. So the more data centers that get erected and get turned on, the more money these guys who already own these companies and already have enough money to begin with will continue to get richer. But they're not worried about putting another hole in the ozone. They're not worried about pollution. They're not worried about possibly getting little Ray stricken with freaking cancer because he's drinking polluted water. That should be something we all should give a damn about. We all should be savvy about this. I got a funny story to tell you guys, because I met a couple guys who came into town to build a data center. I'm going to tell you that story in a little bit. Let's get into this. And real quick, Nikki, thank you so much for being a member for over 58 months. Wow, thank you so much. That's a long time, Nikki. That's a long time. Thank you so much for your support. That really means the world to me. Wow. But let's continue on. I just think it's interesting whenever they say, "We'll look into it. We're gonna look into it. We'll look into it." That's thank you so much for letting me know about the pollution of the water. So what we're gonna do in my white lab coat, looking like I'm super fresh and know what I'm talking about, we're gonna look into it. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna look into it. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. Thank you. That's what she said here, Miss Kramer just said. So what else is she gonna say? Let's find out, shall we?
Thank you. I sincerely appreciate that, because I think this is of utmost importance, and we're seeing this happening across the country. I'd also like to ask about the administration's push to build more data centers by fast-tracking construction. Because the administration's been issuing executive orders to fast-track data center construction when we know that water quality is encountering major issues. Are there any mandates for data centers to do water quality testing prior to construction?
Of like coming from a public water supply, drinking water supply sampling.
Wells, yeah.
I'm not aware of anything like that. However, it doesn't mean I'm just not aware of it. It might exist,
Yes,
but I'm not.
of course. You know, I think it's important.
You realize that the problem is like, yeah, we didn't know. No, we don't have that. But we're going to look at this very wonderful question. Thank you so much. What we're going to do is we're going to look into it. That's what we're going to do. We're going to look into it. That's literally what we're doing here, guys. That's literally what we're hearing. Instead of her saying, yeah, we have been running tests like that. We have certain protocols that we do have to make sure X, Y, and Z. So we know the difference between if there is an effect on these data centers being built around these areas, you know, if we are affecting the water. Okay, we have tested the water before and we're testing the water after. And we noticed no change, no major problems. None whatsoever. But instead, she just says, you know what we're going to do? We're going to look into it, which is basically the same BS thing that they say every time. How about all the stuff that we've talked about and dealt with, like for the likes of Kristi Noem or any of these other officials, you know, these other elected individuals and all that? What do they always say? We're going to look into it. You know what we're going to do? That's a great question, sir. So that's what we're going to do right there is we're going to look into it. That's what we're going to do. It means, yeah, Ella, it means absolutely nothing. It means absolutely nothing. See, this is the problem. They go, ooh, we got something. We found the new crack for America or for the world. Social media, everybody. Social media. It's the new crack. It's been the new crack for a long time, but now everybody's on it. Now everybody uses it. People are watching more TikToks than they actually do watch TV now. That's real talk. More people are watching YouTube shorts and YouTube videos and shows like mine more than they're watching TV. They're spending time on their Facebooks and their TikToks, their Instagrams and their YouTubes. More than they are actually clicking on the idiot box and watching the idiot box. That's literally what we're seeing right now. So there's a huge demand. So they're like, holy crap. Let's keep feeding them that crack. Let's build these data centers. It's going to be brilliant. You're only going to need like 20 people to run the mug. It's going to be amazing. And so they build all these data centers. And what happens? They're not even thinking about the bad reaction. They're not thinking about, oh, wait, we didn't even realize it caused cancer. You see what I'm saying? It's kind of like these cancer sticks that some of you guys smoke on, you know, these cigarettes. They just manufacture a whole bunch of stuff. They go, ooh, let's spray some chemicals on it so it lasts a little bit longer. And it makes it more addictive to our consumers. And they'll enjoy that smooth intake of that tobacco, only to find out it causes even more cancer. Right? So now we're looking at this situation of these data centers that could potentially, we're already seeing it, causing some serious problems. And what's happening? None of these heads, none of these higher ups, none of these super successful, rich individuals, they don't give a damn about what's going on and the potential of there being any side effects to the people living around these data centers. No, they're only concerned about that doggone Skrilla, which is absolutely heartbreaking because they're not even realizing that there is some negative effects to it. And they're not even checking, could this cause more problems to our consumer that is right next door to these data centers? And they're building and erecting these data centers around low-income communities as well, jacking up those people as well even more when they've been screwed with before and still getting screwed with even more, okay? So this is the problem that we're seeing on an everyday basis all the time. It's just changed. It's the same BS. It's just getting shifted to a new era and a new thing. This is the crack. The social media is our crack. And the more we're going to need it, the more that there's a demand for it, the more that these data centers are going to be built. And they're going to get built faster and faster and faster. And the fact that it gets built faster and faster and faster means that it's being done in a very lax way, a very sloppy and lazy way. And there's a lot of oversight, a lot of, glossing over protocols just so they can get that doggone freaking facility up and running. Do you hear what I'm saying, guys? Are you picking up what I'm putting down? I know that there's a demand. We are all part of it. We are all part of the problem. But if they could only really start caring, and maybe hold off on some of these all of these data centers, build them with care. Build them with finite focus. Make sure every T is crossed and every lowercase j, yes, I said lowercase j, is dotted. Instead of trying to cut corners. The reason why we're seeing right now freaking Frappuccino water in her hands that's supposed to be clean, clear water right next to these data centers is because that's exactly what they're doing. They're cutting corners.
That, you as an agency official, we have to make sure we're doing these investigations. And then us, on a congressional level, I'd like to note that I think it's of utmost importance that we also launch congressional investigations into this matter as well so that we can partner with the EPA.
Please.
And ensure that the drinking water for this country continues to be safe and accessible for the American people. So thank you, Administrator.
Yeah. She's like, yeah, we should get involved. We should see what's going on here because it's really jacked up and messed up. And, if we just keep going, oh, these data centers, okay, cool. All right, cool. And just let it be what it is, and we're not asking the right questions, what are they going to do? They're going to cut corners, and they're going to do all this like, oh, look at this. It's going to be great for your community. It's going to be doing all this great stuff. Are we sure about that? Are we really sure about that? Peg, thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it. What can be done? What can be done? They're in office because of us. What can be done? Seriously, that water looked like diarrhea. Yes, it really did. It really looked bad. Long story short. Yeah, we're going to have another Flint. Thank you so much, Roll. We're going to have another Flint situation, except it's going to be in every city that these data centers are being built. But hold on. What can be done? I don't know. I don't have the answer for that. I wish I did. I would hope that people like AOC start asking more questions and start applying some serious pressure. And maybe there's supposed to be some more protocols, some guidelines, certain precautions that are put into the agreements of these buildings that are being built to make sure that they pass every inspection, that no, they're not putting out dirty water to the towns that they're being built in. You see what I'm saying? That's what needs to be happening. Other people on both sides of the aisle, all the movers and shakers that are trying to push paper right here, should be doing exactly what AOC is doing. Start asking questions and start demanding new protocols and new guidelines. New law, not new laws, but new things to make sure that these data centers aren't being built in a lazy fashion. Think about this too. It's kind of like a restaurant. Haven't you noticed that, like, for those of y'all who are restaurant owners, or you maybe have a friend that's a restaurant owner, you already know the amount of loopholes they have to go to before they even can turn the light on saying that they're open, before they can even place a plate of food in front of you at all in front of a customer before they can even pour you a beer or make you a cocktail in that bar. There are a million different loopholes and things that they have to jump through to get certified before they can even open the door and serve a freaking future customer. So why can't they do the same thing for a data center? Especially if it's coming out like that. Especially if they're doing stuff like that and potentially poisoning the people that are right next to that building. I'm just saying, there needs to be certain things, rules and regulations, exactly, Bigfoot, that need to be implemented to make sure that this stuff doesn't happen ever. You know how many times, man, I got so many friends of mine that are restaurant owners, very, very successful restaurant owners. The amount of loopholes that they would have to go through. Some of them would have to push back their opening, like their soft openers and their grand openings of their restaurants because some health inspector walks in and goes, nope, I don't like that faucet right there, sir. So that entire sink and that entire piping for your water and your hand washing sanitation station right there needs to be moved to the other side of the bar, sir. I'm so sorry. And it's like, damn, you realize that's going to be a $10,000+ and I got to I got to move that whole thing over here and then I got to refigure damn. But that's a real thing, y'all. That is a real thing, and it's necessary. It's necessary. So that people don't get sick, right? People don't get sick. Same thing with this. That's just what I think. Okay? Just saying. First off, and here's the other thing, too. Somebody going, oh, yeah, there's liberals and stuff. Let me tell you something here, okay? Before I go into this super chat, all right? Let me just say this. If this was a Republican holding that water and talking about this, I'd be saying the same damn thing. Doesn't matter. Right is right, wrong is wrong. Poisoning people should not be a biased political issue. It should be a bipartisan conversation. Okay? This should be something that we should care about on both sides of the aisle, y'all. So I don't care if it was AOC. She just happened to be the one that's talking about it. But if it was just some hardcore if this was Tucker Carlson, I'd still be talking about this. Like, yo, this is crazy. This is disgusting. Real talk. Real talk. So miss me with the nonsense on that liberal crap. This is about people living and dying, potentially dying from drinking that kind of water. You want to drink that water? That water doesn't care who you voted for, by the way, fam. Just so you know. Moving on, though. The Rebel, thank you so much for the love. Yep, they building those data centers in rural areas and low-income areas as well that all voted for Trump. And hey, some of those low-income areas as well didn't vote for Trump. And they still getting those data centers. You feel me? Okay. So again, just saying that out loud, all right? It is a very difficult thing to try to run a restaurant, to try to open a restaurant, trying to get that going. But it's understandable. There are certain things, there's certain hoops you got to jump through to get certain things going. Understandable. Same thing with these data centers. Sure, they're not serving food, but at the same time, they're still shooting out dirty water and potentially getting people sick. They're messing with their power, etc. That is a massive, massive problem. Now here, let me just tell you this quick story, okay? All right. What is AOC? That's Alexandria. Somebody just said this in the chat, in the super chat. Hold on. Where is it? Peg. Okay, so AOC is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. That is her name, okay? Look her up, all right? Look her up when you get some time, all right? But I do have a story. I do have a story about this because randomly I was, out and met these two guys. They were very cool people, very charismatic, very conversational, whatever. One of the guys was very, very drunk. And the other guy was just, chilling, doing his thing. And he, he was like, oh, okay. So, he was asking me like, kind of like what do you do? That kind of thing. I told him what I did, like what I do for a living, what I do this show, talk for a living on a microphone. And I was like, yeah, there's a lot of people in town very upset about these data centers. And he goes, that's really funny that you said that. And I go, why? Are you one of the guys like trying to get these data centers built in this city? He's like, no, I actually helped build them. Me and my guy right here, we helped build them. I'm like, stop it. Really? He's like, yeah, man, we were just here just a little bit ago, building one over in this neck of the woods. Now we're back again. And he's like, I travel all over the world, all over the country, building these data centers. He's like, I don't even live in your town. I live on the opposite side of the country, but I go and hop around from place to place and help build these places. And he's like, it doesn't take very long to build these. It's very quick. It's very fast. We're very efficient. This isn't our first rodeo, so we know exactly what we need to do and how quickly we need to do it. So they get it done. They get paid really well, but they also do crazy, crazy hours, like nurse hours. Real talk. Like 12-hour, 15-hour shifts. Not sleep at all, and then wake up, go home, or like go back to the hotel room that they're staying in, wake up and do it all over again. 7 days straight. Real talk. So he's like, hey, people got the whole data center wrong. There's a stigma attached to it, but they don't have it all together. And I'm like, well, are you actually building the actual data machines, like these big things? He's like, no, I basically build the house that these things are inside of. But, he's like, from my understanding, they recycle water, but eventually that water needs to be pushed out. Eventually that water needs to be, because it doesn't, that water doesn't stay there for 7,000 years. They keep reusing water, right? For their cooling system and all that stuff, right? But he did say, like, it is jacked up because it is not something where it's going to bring a crap ton of money, or not a ton of money. I'm sorry. That is not going to bring a crap ton of business or, jobs to people in the cities. He's like, man, he's like, honestly, 5 dudes can run that place. Easy. 5. It's like, get out of here. It's like, yeah, man, they don't need anybody in there. It's like these machines are like built to last. You got it up, you got it set up, you're good to go. There might be a freak accident that happens every once in a while, but you only need 1 dude to do that job. It's like, shoot, 5 people per building can run that ish. Easy. Insane. So as much as you think like, oh yeah, it's gonna bring money and it's gonna bring jobs to the city. No, it ain't. It ain't gonna do that at all. In fact, it's just gonna take up another spot. It's gonna take up space, and only 5 people at best are gonna be running that center, and that's it. At least according to this guy. It was a fascinating conversation. I'm like, wow, that's crazy. And I'm like sitting here going like, listen, ain't no shame in your game. If that's how you make your money, that's how you make your money. I'm not trying to tell you to quit your job. If this is how you pay your bills, this is how you pay your bills. But I just wish things were a little bit different. And it all starts with lawmakers and people who are pushing these bills, laws, etc. It all starts there. Because all we can do is sit back and get mad and, angrily gesticulate as a group and go, no more of these data centers. But is it going to really stop the building of these data centers? No. I'll answer that question for you guys. No. But somebody got to get their boot on their neck and start asking those doggone questions. And if it's AOC, so be it. I just hope other people join her and start asking questions as well. Because nothing good I've heard so far about these data centers, nothing good has come from it from what I've heard, for these towns. Great things for all of us. We're able to stream and remember, have our photos saved, etc. Right? But outside of that, what about all these homes that are getting affected by these data centers? It's a big problem, y'all. It's definitely a big problem. People need to start asking questions, y'all. People most definitely need to start asking questions on both sides of the aisle. Real talk. But guys, that is the show. I appreciate all y'all for being here. Really means a lot. Thank you so much for tuning in on this show. Of course, we're going to keep an eye on the plant, the facility, see if it explodes or not, whatever. Hopefully it doesn't. Hopefully everybody can go back home tomorrow morning, and everything will be fine. We'll find out. Okay? They don't really care about us. Yeah, they don't. It's all about money. It's all about money, y'all. But please do me a favor before we head out. Please do me a favor. Hit that like button down below. Crush it. Do what it do. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on these other platforms. Subscribe to this channel right here. Go to my second channel, The Pascal Show Clips. Subscribe over there as well. That'll be greatly, greatly appreciated. Yes, to all you, have a great, safe weekend. Seriously, thinking about you guys, thinking about all y'all, especially those of y'all in Cali right now. Stay safe out there, please. Subscribe here, hit that notification bell, set it to all so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload, because it is random. Hit that join button down below, become a member. Check out my Patreon, which is in that ticker down below right here. And of course, check out pascalmerch.com. We've got some really great stuff over there, so go check it out. pascalmerch.com. Anyway, guys, it's time to get going. If I don't see you guys this weekend, have a great, wonderful Memorial Day weekend. Make it dope. Make it memorable. And if you are going to be drinking, don't drink and drive. How about that? Get a DD. All right? Anyway, guys, it's time to get going. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. This is The Pascal Show. Bye.